Hi, and welcome to your daily Farm and Home Show. My name is Whitney Peck, and today we'll be joined by Dr. Kenny Burdine of the University of Kentucky to discuss how to read through a cattle market report. Market report here. Would you mind just going through the basics, the key points of what a young producer should look for when looking at a market report?
Speaking my language now, this is great. So, what Whitney's pulled up here, this is kind of the summary from, I guess this would have been the second full week of June. So we can kind of look at this for some feel for what these tend to look like. So these come from the Department of Agriculture, Ag Marketing Service, and I always like to kind of give a shout out to our market reporters. You know, we are blessed in Kentucky with an outstanding group of market reporters. So we have price data in Kentucky that a lot of states are very jealous of, and I think that gives us a lot of information. So, you know, when you pull up something like this, and I should say, so this is the state summary, Whitney, but there's also one of these for really virtually every auction yard that we have. So I think it's great to look at it at the state level. You know, you could also pull this up on a weekly basis for every market kind of in your vicinity and see what prices look like. So we'll start at the beginning, and you can kind of see here that they're just kind of some simple summaries. So the very top part there talks about how many cattle moved through markets that week. You can compare to the week before, and you can compare to last year. So that tells us something about volume. The text is also really useful just for kind of some high-level discussion. So you can just kind of read the description. It'll talk about, okay, how were the trends this week compared to last week, right? So the one we're looking at here, the market reporters are trying to tell us that calves were stronger, and so were heavy feeders. So just kind of some general take. Now, as we get into specific data, this will be broken into different categories, but for example, right here, we're going to start with our steers, medium and large frame number 1s and 2s. Of course, medium and large refers to frame size, kind of the expected weight those cattle will be when they reach their physiological endpoint. And then the 1-2 refers to muscling scores. So with a 1 being heavier muscled all the way down to 3 or 4 being lighter muscled. So this medium and large frame 1 to 2 category tends to capture a lot of the calves that move through our markets. You'll also notice that they're broken here in 50-pound increments. So we've got some really small cattle here with not a lot of numbers, but if we kind of scroll down here kind of in the 400 to 600 pound range, you'll see quite a few more cattle that fall in those categories. And notice that there'll be a price range for those 50-pound increments. For example, we can look here at the 500. So this is essentially the 500 to 548 pound range. 5 to 550s, right? And then there'll be a weighted average weight and then a weighted average price, okay? Now, I'll make another couple comments here. So first of all, when you see those numbers, for example, if we're looking at this one right here, 401.25, that's dollars per hundredweight, okay? So that's per 100 pounds. So I could also say that that's a little over $4 a pound. 401.25 per pound, 401.25 per hundredweight. So we express things in per hundredweight. The other thing that I'll point out, Whitney, if you look over here to the right, there's a descriptor. Okay, so you'll see some don't have a descriptor, and those are kind of ones that are just kind of run-of-the-mill run through. The reporters are basically trying to say that they use those descriptors to distinguish between why certain cattle brought a different price than others. Okay, so for example, when you see the word value added, our market reporters typically use that to refer to cattle that have been through some sort of health program. So it doesn't mean anything real specific. What I like to say is those are not green calves. They're not fresh off the cow. They're weaned. When you see the word fancy, you know, that's the market reporter saying for a number of reasons, those cattle brought a higher price because they were perceived to be of better quality for some reason. We could scroll more if we wanted to. Sometimes you'll see some other thing.
Full video of today's segment, check out the Warren County Extension YouTube page. After each YouTube video in the Beef Bootcamp series, there will be an opportunity to fill out an evaluation form. For every evaluation form that you fill out, your name will be put into a drawing to win a portable Blackstone grill. If you fill out all the evaluation forms, you will also be receiving a UK Extension sorting flag. Thank you for watching.